Welcome back to Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. My name is Josh, and I got my good friend Al on the show here today. In the last segment, we covered some encyclopedia strategies that just might be outdated. That Encyclopedia Britannica. That's actually a tough combination to say, but I got it just right. It's not. What was that word that I couldn't say before? Peculiar.
There you go. That's
I-
pretty. That's close enough.
Yeah, we're doing well here today. But if you did miss seats to the investing class in the last segment, a couple different ways you can register for a free class here in Bloomington. Physical class to learn about the financial markets, how they work, how to make smart and intelligent investing decisions, whether in your income years or retirement years. Now is the time to get started. Text the word investing to the number 210-210, and that's for 2 seats for the investing class local here. Or you can simply call 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410. If you missed part of the show, check out the podcast. Anywhere you listen to podcasts, on Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Spotify, that's Investing and Trading Live. So, Al, in this last segment here, I had a topic, partial topic for the last segment, and we didn't even mention it at all. So I want to talk about that on this segment here. Is we have a lot of people planning for retirement that are near retirement, say they're in their 40s and 50s, even 60s, so they're in their planning stages. Now, they may feel they have enough, or they may not feel they have enough, but they're looking for alternative ways to continue to grow that. Now, the market is an opportunity for that. And people, as we talked about in the last segment, don't want to risk everything that they have in their accounts, which is terrible because that's what their brokers and their advisors are doing, is they're putting them 100% invested into the market, which is 100% at risk. Now, we haven't really talked a lot about options here today. I want you to explain why options are so beneficial in retirement accounts. One, to protect those accounts, but being able to use small amounts of capital in their planning stages and build that comfort and confidence to have the opportunity to build those accounts to what they want them to be.
Yeah, and that's another one of those things that people have been conditioned to believe is that options are too risky. You shouldn't be doing that. You need to do the typical buy and hold strategy. Just buy a combination of stocks and bonds and hold on to it for years and years, and you'll be fine. Well, has not been happening. In fact, 2022 is the worst year ever for that diversified 60-40 split that Wall Street puts you into. And
that's because bonds were junk, right?
Bonds got massacred in 2022. Typically, when the stock market is getting hit, bonds will go up and vice versa. There's usually inverse correlation there. It did not happen in 2022.
Yep.
So people that had 60% stocks, 40% bonds got hurt. People that had 60% bonds, 40% stocks got hurt.
That's the encyclopedia strategy.
There you go. But here's the thing. This is the first generation, the people you're talking about, 40, 50, 60-year-olds, and people just getting ready to retire now, is the first generation, I'm going to say, is going to on their own. And what I mean by that is that prior to that, if you look at your parents or your grandparents, they had 3 things to rely on when they went into retirement. They had a pension, they had Social Security, and then some savings. That pension really was that was a guaranteed amount that they got on a regular basis, so they didn't have to do as much planning. Companies now it's very rare to have a pension. And by the way, the pensions that are out there are significantly underfunded. They could be have some issues there.
Yeah.
But right now you have 2 things to rely on: Social Security and then your retirement savings. You can't control Social Security, but the only thing you can control is your retirement savings. And unfortunately, people are putting it in the hands of the the Wall Street people that basically have everybody doing the same thing, just buying, holding on, and just hoping that things turn out. Options are something that actually, if used properly, if you have the proper education, that actually is one of the lowest risk, highest potential reward assets that you can use. Options can be used to protect a portfolio. It's sort of like taking an insurance policy out on a portfolio, but also it allows you, and we talked about this before, about efficient use of your money. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they get into retirement and they realize they don't have enough, sometimes they do take on too much risk, to try to get back or get enough to make it through the years that they have left. That's the wrong thing to do. Options can be used to protect your assets. You can wrap options around basically any asset or asset strategy that you're looking at. If you have a stock portfolio, you want to get better returns, you can use options to do that. You have a stock portfolio, you want to protect it when the market crashes or goes through corrections or bear markets, options can be used to do that. You want to take a small amount of money but control something worth a significant multiple of that, you can do that. If you want to invest in something that goes up maybe 100 to 200% when the underlying stock goes up 10%, you can do that with options. Options can be used in up markets, down markets, sideways markets. And we don't really care what you trade. We're not trying to convince you that that's the only thing to do. And it may not be for you. I mean, there's options, there's futures, there's Forex, there's stock. Most of our students, when they learn about the disadvantages of mutual funds, don't trade mutual funds. I mentioned earlier that out of almost 1,500 professionally managed funds, only 0.5% made money in 2022.
Yep.
Typically, and we see that 85 to 90% of the funds underperform the index or the part of the market of the economy that they're supposed to mimic, which is not a very positive thing to think about.
Yeah, devastating.
There are assets you can use. You have control. That's the only thing you have control over is the savings you have.
Okay,
Social Security. Let me just make one more comment.
Yep,
Social
sorry.
Security is in trouble. And if you're relying on that now, which many people do, by the year 2030, 35, Social Security is probably going to be cut. And the reality is, Goldman Sachs did a survey. They found that 51% of retirees live on less than half of their income pre-retirement. That's tough.
That's half of a lifestyle.
That means you cut back on things. That means you lower your lifestyle.
Yeah.
That's not how you want to go into retirement.
Yeah. How many people have you met with, and that's what they say is, I don't want to live, I want to be able to do the fun things. They don't want to live half a lifestyle. They don't want to have to stay home all the time. And you see that a lot, which is sad because what happens is people just stay home. They can't do anything. And then they say, oh, we like to stay home and just read books and stuff. Well, you can only do that so long.
Yeah.
And it's kind of sad for some people, and they don't want to do different, go down that route. But I like one thing you mentioned is you can control your savings, right?
Right.
And I want you to think about this for a second. So there's a TV show. It was called That 70s Show, and I don't think there's any new ones on anymore. But there was a character played by Ashton Kutcher, and his name was, gosh, I forget his name. If you're listening, you probably know who it is. And Jackie, which was Mila Kunis, they were arguing about something. And he says, Jackie, I can't control the weather. Now think about that for a second. You can't control the weather, but what you can do is prepare for the weather.
Right.
And people don't just stay in their house all day long and not go out just because it's going to be inclement weather. They prepare. They bring an umbrella, or they prepare and they bring whatever it is, for boots or rain boots or whatever that may be, or snow boots, whatever that may be, gloves. You prepare for what could happen, so that way you're protected. Now, you can do the same thing in your retirement accounts. So you can control your savings. You can control your retirement accounts, but it's going to take action to do that. And that's why we have these investing classes, to show people those strategies, those techniques, so you feel comfortable taking those actions. And as Al was alluding to earlier, taking small portions of your money, protecting the big majority of it, using leverage properly, have your dollars act like more, have your dollars go further. That's how you get more longevity in those financial accounts. And these classes are pretty cool, Al, because you talk a lot about retirement, because we've been seeing, gosh, I'd say the majority of the people coming to these classes are focused on retirement.
Right.
They're probably, I don't know, maybe 40s, 50s, and 60s, and they're focused on protecting their accounts, especially with the down market that we're seeing this week. Matter of fact, what had happened to walk by the TV, and I think it was CNBC, they were talking about this month could be the worst month since December. Now, that's not very comforting for people. So now is the time to take action. Learn the skills and techniques to protect those accounts, no matter which way this market goes. So I want to invite people to take action. And this is a free investing class locally here in Bloomington. We're right off 494, kind of by the Mall of America. And we teach these techniques, these strategies here at the Academy on how to make smart investing decisions in your retirement accounts. But to do that, with confidence. So simply text the word investing to the number 210 right now for 2 seats, or simply call 952-814-4410. That's 952-814-4410 for 2 seats for an investing class to begin your journey to whatever goal or objective that you do have, especially in those retirement accounts. Al, we've had a great discussion on income strategies, wealth strategies. We talked a little bit about the encyclopedia strategy, which is outdated. I want to hear today's new OTA tip of the week.
Well, Josh, often things happen that are not our choice. But if you let those things happen and don't do anything about them, you are making a choice. It's a choice to live with the consequences of what's happened. Successful people identify their problems, but they give their power and their energy to solutions that they can make proper choices. So if your problems are financial, our goal is to help you find and use solutions appropriate for you to address and fix those problems.
I like that. And that kind of brings me back to the 3 C's we talk a lot about. How do you build that consistency? It starts with some knowledge and some skills. When you build that consistency, that builds that confidence to be able to do it, believing that you can. I believe I can do that. And that 3rd C, which is most important, to have more choices. Right. Text investing to the number 210 to start building those choices, or call 952-814-4410. And this is for a free investing class here in Bloomington. As always, same time, same place next week. Until then, retire young, my